Very good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining us today. The pandemic has indeed fast forwarded our way of living. Design is always changing, and with tech and design increasingly aligning, we are arguably headed to the most radical period of change in design history. So, how radical will design landscape of 2022 be? We have gathered here today to find answers to this pertinent question and explore solutions that are not just temporary but are focused on creating a sustainable future. On this occasion, it gives me immense pleasure to have gotten the opportunity to collaborate with one of the most forward-thinking brands in the electrical segment, Polycab India. Polycab has been a market leader with a revenue of over 88 billion rupees, making them the largest manufacturer of wires and cables in India, and is also the fastest growing FMEG player. Today, I am delighted to be seated among some of the most prominent names in the industry and welcome you all to this very special panel. A very warm welcome to architects Sandeep Khosla, Supraja, Niroop, Reddy, Faisal, Vohra, and of course, Mr. Manoj, Verma, CEO, Polycab India. The product that we are going to unveil today is going to revolutionize the way we look at smart automation, called Home. It's a homegrown portfolio from the House of Polycab, developed on an indigenous platform and 100% manufactured in India. Without taking much time, I'm going to hand over the conversation to Mr. Verma. Just a little surprise for all our lovely audience. We have 3 prizes to give away at the end of this session, the hints for which are hidden in the conversation to follow. So all eyes on the screen. Over to you, Mr. Verma.
Good evening, everyone. And first and foremost, thank you. Thank you very much for having taken out time to join us on this session. What I'm going to do very quickly is walk you through what we have created from the House of Polycab. I wouldn't call it a portfolio of products. I would call it an experience that we have created, and that is something that we want to offer to all our consumers at large in terms of the way they would be able to, each one of you would be able to experience consumer products that you use in a home. So I would start with a small AV that will give you a glimpse of what is it that I'm going to be talking about. So Amita, can I have the AV, please?
Alexa, open curtains.
Okay.
Imagine a lifestyle tailor-made to pamper you. Introducing the Home Smart Automation Solutions from Polycab, which transforms your house into an intelligent home, where intelligence is aesthetic, where functionality meets efficiency, where comfort knows the warmth you wish for. Where technology spins a tale of tranquility. Where romance is orchestrated at your command. An integrated system which lets you control your home from any part of the world. Alexa, turn sleep mode on. Now, set the desired ambience, set daily schedules, and quite importantly, monitor your power consumption. Now, give your home the aesthetics it aspires and the intelligence it deserves with home automation solutions from Polycab.
So that was about a 1 minute 55 second, to be precise, snapshot of what a day in your life would be like with automation systems, and what is it that you would experience? Can I have the presentation? So what I'm going to talk about is a new portfolio, a new platform, and a new automation solutions as a package that we have on offer, and which is what we have coined as home. The idea of the brand home for this segment is for it to rhyme with home, because that is predominantly where we're going to talk about solutioning. And home is not about a product portfolio, home is about an experience. With home, where products are basically the heroes, but as I colloquially say, the products are like individual musicians, and it is when the automation solutions platform takes over as the conductor, you are able to create a symphony. And that symphony is the experience that you would experience at various times of the day and at various parts of your lifestyle. So home is all about an experience of elevated convenience, comfort, lifestyle. And how does one achieve it? One achieves it through either voice or through a mobile app, which we have created homegrown. And at the touch of a button, you can control, you can operate, you can schedule, and you can also sequence the various electrical appliances in a home. So in short, what we offer you is the convenience of designing the space you want, controlling the space you want, and from anywhere in the world that you want. So what is it that home as a platform offers? It basically is nothing. The products continue to be the same as they were for decades. The only thing that has happened is you have induced smartness into each of these products and a set of smart controls. Smart controls that can be operated via the mobile, via voice. You can create scenes for the various parts of the day and for various rooms in the interior. You can do scheduling. You can personalize the scheduling to what time does the AC get switched on, at what temperature, what time does the geyser get switched on. And last but not the least, the USP of this particular offering is that it is a retrofit solution and it doesn't need rewiring. So in case you have an existing installation, we can make it smart using the portfolio products that we have on the table. So at home, what are we basically saying? You own an experience, you are able to install it yourself, you are able to enjoy the experience and experience a life related. How does this come? I'm not going to talk very much. There is a range of products that we have, a product for every application in a home or in an office. And using these products integrated onto an online platform is what will give you the experience that I have been talking about. Now, while we have at Polycab, we have the expertise of designing products, we have the expertise of ensuring quality reliability because we manufacture most of them ourselves. The need of the hour for an automation solution to be successful is have somebody who is able to create the intelligence and a platform which can communicate with the various products and create the kind of a experience that you are looking for. And as a step towards being ready for complete end-to-end solutions, we acquired a company at Bangalore called Sylvan Innovation Labs. This is a company which is about a decade old and a company which has expertise in doing home automation solutions, extremely strong in the builder segments. Next slide, please. Their credentials very clearly are there on the slide. I mean, you name the builders, you name Shobha, Lodha, Prestige, Nambiar, TVS. They have all these as their running clients with whom they've been doing business over the last decade. We now, having acquired Sylvan, we have the credentials of having already installed 10,000 plus home automation solutions. We have both wired and wireless solutions. And I think the biggest differentiator that we are now going to be in a position to bring to the table is to execute projects within the deadlines as stipulated by the client. So what does Sylvan offer as intelligence? You name the utility, you name the electrical appliances in the home or in the complex where you live. Sylvan as an integrating platform allows you to link all of these via a cloud-enabled service and enables you to talk to each one of these categories on your mobile, via voice, or through the internet. So if I take the example of a typical home, we're talking of starting from the entry system, which is a smart door lock, to a video door phone, getting onto curtain controllers, smart touch panel switches, which are going to allow you not only on off, but allow you scheduling, allow you to dim or brighten the lights, regulate the speed of the fans, regulate the location and the movement of the curtains, and human centric lighting, which is basically ensuring that the lighting in the interior is of the same composition as that of sunlight, thereby enabling a human being to feel energetic and the same way as he or she would feel under daylight. That is another element that the smart solutioning can bring to the table. So, in short, what are we saying? Home, which is the hardware, and Sylvan, which is the intelligence, we are able to bring to the table a complete end-to-end solution. We have created standard solutions depending on the size of the interior, size of the apartment, and the budgetary allocation that one would give to automation solutions, so that you can make a ready pick out of an a la carte. There is a continuous drive on technology, as was mentioned by Amrita, and I would reiterate it. We are talking of automation solutions which are going to be 100% homegrown, which means designed here, manufactured here, and delivered here, and maintained here. So it's a ultimate objective is for a made in India solution with zero dependence on anybody outside the boundaries of this country. We are working towards ensuring that we create an ultimate user experience. My take on the user experience is through AI and data analytics. Over a period of 6 months of usage of the automation system, the system will start understanding the personal needs of, say, for example, Manoj Verma. And the moment Manoj Verma gets in proximity of his house by virtue of geofencing, the system would understand that Mr. Verma is approaching his home. So the lights will start getting aligned to his requirement, the curtains will get drawn, Beethoven would play, the geyser would come on, the air conditioning would get set. So the idea is to offer the consumer a complete user experience, either by voice or a mobile or through pre-programmed home settings. Next slide, please. So what we have done is, as I said earlier, so from a basic, simple home automation solution, which could be as low as 30,000, 33,000 rupees, we can give you a completely fully loaded end-to-end connected automation solutions for a four-bedroom house, which is about 315,000. While we already have launched a range of products which were there in our range, there is a range of products that we have slated for launch by December, which is curtain motors, gas leak sensors, occupancy sensors, video door phones. So, in short, with the onset of calendar year 2022, we would, under Home and Sylvan, be in a position to offer you a 360-degree solution, which would be able to manage all the electrical appliances in your home or in your interior. I suppose that's all that I had to share. Thank you very much for the patient hearing, and I'm going to be available for any questions that may have. Over to you, Sumisha.
Thank you so much, Mr. Verma, and congratulations once again for the launch of this revolutionary product. And a very, very warm welcome to all our panelists. It's great to meet each one of you virtually, and I look forward to some fabulous insights on the topic today, which is designing futuristic spaces with automation. I'm going to start with a small introduction of all our panelists. First on our panel, we have architect Sandeep Khosla, founder and principal of Khosla Associates, a leading architecture and interior design firm in Bangalore. Khosla Associates' distinct style of tropical residential architecture with contemporary design sensibilities is much spoken about. Next up, we have Niroop Reddy, principal of NA Architects. Niroop is known for evolving innovative design solutions that are contextual and sustainable in creating spaces that exhilarate to experience while being functional. He is currently involved in about 100 projects totaling to over 30 million square feet. We have with us Supraja Rao, principal designer of Design House, headquartered in Hyderabad, India since 1990. Her forte is residential design, and she's worked on projects in India, Dubai, and USA. Next up, we have Faisal Vohra, founder partner of F+S Designs. Faisal is known for designing bespoke luxury homes, hospitality, retail, and corporate spaces, and actively focuses on sustainable design. And of course, we have Mr. Manoj Verma, who is an industry veteran and has significant work experience in sales, marketing, and operations across top companies in the electrical segment. On that note, I think it's time to kickstart our discussion. I would like to begin this discussion with the most pertinent question, and this one goes out to you, Sandeep. How do you envision the spaces of tomorrow to be, keeping in mind sustainability and use of technology?
I think very pertinent topic of conversation. And if I had to look at spaces of tomorrow, firstly, I feel that the spaces of tomorrow, whether it's next year or a decade later, human beings are going to want to have comfortable spaces and spaces that they emotively connect with. And those are not going to change. So I'm not really going to get into style of spaces because I think people are going to connect with whatever they, fancy, whether it's color or texture or tactile spaces or warm spaces. I think we've learned with the pandemic that people connect more now than ever with nature and with the natural environment. So I don't think that is going to change much. But the reality is that we are living in a consumerist and capitalist world. And that has led to climate change, which is very real. So I think what really needs to be balanced is the comfort of spaces, sustainability, and technology. So sustainability is something that architects, designers are going to strive towards. They're going to continue to strive towards how do we lower our carbon footprint? How do we reduce our dependence on fossil fuels? I mean, those are all basic things that are kind of driving home every morning as we kind of wake up and get to our desks. So with every project, we're going to have to encounter that. We're going to have to figure out how to design in a climate sensitive way, in a contextual sensitive way, by using natural resources, by using local resources, by building in the most sustainable ways, methods, with the most sustainable materials. Okay, so that is one thing for sure. As far as technology is concerned, the reality is that the smartphone is here to stay and AI is here to stay. And everything today is powered by algorithms. So even you get onto Google, Google knows exactly what you want. And your computer is listening to you, your phone is listening to you, and you're going to keep getting this. So the same thing is going to happen with smart automation. That's the natural way. There's no two ways about it. So there is going to be there is already a technological dependence. But I think how can that kind of help us? And how can we work on comfort of spaces, sustainability, and technology? How do these three things work hand in hand? I think that's going to be the key of how we can have control of our environments through technology, and how we can still have that help us in lowering our waste production and increasing our efficiency.
I absolutely love how you summarized everything and so perfectly actually put everything down, perfect start of the conversation. I think you also mentioned that a lot has now changed with the new normal. So I'd like to know from Niroop, how has his experience been post new normal, and how have things really settled down, and what is the sentiment out there, and how are you addressing the needs of the client?
See, automation is one thing I think which all of us are adopting nowadays, part of our designs. But it is not only the design. I mean, automation doesn't change your design. It's one of the part where
elements.
So basic thing is to design your spaces first. So it's the only thing automation will be helpful in giving you efficiency. I mean, it can be power, can be a comfortness, can be a, sometimes your privacy, sometimes it can be a. So it depends. It depends on each individual. And when I want to talk much about this, I just want to first tell you like how many how many of the residents or how many people are comfortable with this. So this is also another thing where we need to actually talk about, because okay, see, as an architect, we would always like to give the best thing to the clients, always suggest the new ones or the new technology what we have in the market, saying this is a new thing. But are the people really adaptable? Because see, even when I think Mr. Manoj was showing us the presentation, so we have the basic ones and we have the high-end things. So okay, suppose a basic thing doesn't have all the things. I mean, what it really matters, it's just that the on-off are very basic things. But when you're talking about future of design or future of automation, it's about it's end of the day, it's about saving energy. How you save energy and how you control your things with less manpower. So that is very important. So when we want to do that, as of today, the automation is not that cheap or thing. It's expensive thing when you want to have everything in one. I mean, when you want to have all the things. So when you want to have curtain motors, see, all these things are very expensive, like curtain motors can be having fully automated air condition, then your having it's not only about that, then it comes to shades. So motorizing your shades, then only you'll have you can cut down the heat and all that. So actually it depends more on these things. So how affordable is this automation for all of us to use it? So that's my first thing, because automation has been in Indian, I think from last 15 years, but I think of late from last 4-5 years, we have a lot of companies, new companies coming every week. I can say every week. But how many of them are, really sustainable? How many of them are really, worth taking it? Because every day we see a new company coming on automation. So we need to have some kind of really benchmark where we say, okay, this is the standard we're going to adopt or something.
I think that's a great idea, and we'll probably come back to that. But I want to know from Supraja that, both Sandeep and Niroop emphasized a lot on technology, on energy efficiency. So what are the smart technologies that you think would probably be helpful for us in the new normal and when we design spaces for the future?
Let me just go back a little on what I think in general. I call my life as a trip to Earth, and we're all just visiting, But I think what's happened a lot in the last decade is we all want this where we are in life, we all want a lot more from life. Lives are no longer simple. It's very chaotic. There's so much going on in our head, on our phone, in our house, that automation should only help us reduce the clutter, right? So like Sandeep was saying, and what Manoj was saying with the geofencing, that if you go near your house, like I still remember till about even about 5 years ago, someone staying in some friend's house in Bombay, then make sure that the guest room geyser is on, right? For me. So many of these things, which now you look back that, we really had to consider that. Like I had a friend over recently and made sure the air conditioning was on when she landed at the airport, saying, okay, the room will cool down by the time she comes. So, and it does put a certain level of stress to deal with when you have so much going on. You just want to make sure AC is on, lights are on, this is off, and things like that. So I would like to see how technology and automation helps us and not consumes us. When I say consumes us, I'm saying because what you have to get up to do, and all of us know that physically we need to be active and alert, and mentally we need to be calm. And every step mankind is making, we're making sure that we move less and our mind keeps working, right? We're paying a bill like this, we're doing everything like this without having to. So that is my concern, that it should not make us, what should I say? I wouldn't use the word lazy, but I think we need to keep consciously doing things. If we can save time, save energy, and then do other, I wouldn't even say chores. Like going to the gym is a necessity, but our lifestyle earlier allowed us that we moved around so much that we didn't need to go to the gym. So I'm just hoping that automation, we use it wisely and get some extra time, remove clutter and chaos from our life, because the genie is out of the bottle. It's no going back on that. So yeah, I'm looking forward to what all as mankind we do to better our lives.
Absolutely. I'm going to come to you, Mr. Verma, to answer Supraja's question once we've heard from Faisal as well. Faisal, would you like to tell us what is your focus when it comes to projects in the near future, and how are you meeting your clients' requirements?
Thank you for having me, Sumisha.
Absolute pleasure.
Well, see, there are things that have changed with regards to a client's perception and an ask.
Mm-hmm.
And there are things that have had a social transformation.
Mm-hmm.
So if you look at pre-COVID client expectation versus post-COVID client expectations, I think good design was being done then and will continue being done so. But the fact that people were confined within their homes for a period of time, they were stopped from doing certain activities, from moving about, and then they also had to undergo a social transformation in terms of staying within a family unit or staying within a community for a period of time, has made clients look at very different things now. So for example, if you were doing a good landscaping earlier, across an estate, the clients that come to you now have a very different understanding of what the landscape does to them in today's context, knowing the fact that if they have to work from home, or if they have to be in their vicinity for certain amounts of time, they need those green spaces for a productive life. So the focus has shifted tangentially in that way. Design per se, people will gravitate towards things that they have always liked, culturally, socially, geographically speaking. So in terms of a spatial context, I don't think too much, but in terms of their awareness and appreciation, a lot. So when clients come now, it's about having some spaces of solitude and reflection, places where they can work productively, maybe a place for the husband, the wife, the kids separately to have their workspaces, study spaces separately. So there's a very deep understanding on that now. They want better sound insulation at certain parts. Earlier, because it was just a norm of doing let's say sound insulation in home theaters or media rooms and so on and so forth. But now they want it in a few other places as well, and they want those kind of functionalities part of the design process, part of the journey, and part of what they are looking at living. So I think the understanding of how people live now versus how people used to live earlier, that has changed, and their expectation of their homes has changed dramatically. Because now a home is not a utilitarian spot wherein they are going after a long day of work, maybe having a meal with the family, and turning in. It's become a much more broader sense of functionality now. And because with a lot more companies, I was speaking to D. Shaw the other day, and they said that they're going to move to, and Google as well, they're going to move to a permanent hybrid model wherein people work out of an office for 3 days and then they compulsorily work out of home for 3 days, or maybe an equation thereabouts.
I'm sure a lot has changed in design with the way of working changing, the way of, and like Sandeep also mentioned, that people realize the importance of being around nature as well. So I absolutely agree with every point that you made. Mr. Verma, would you like to address Supraja's question on how can we use automation to relax ourselves versus making us dependent on it? And Niroop's question on eco-friendly, how eco-friendly automation is as well.
Yeah, okay. So to the first point on sustainability that Sandeep mentioned, the very fact that an automation solution smartly used can drop your energy bill by 50% in itself is a state. It automatically brings down energy consumption in your home by an average of 50% if smartly used. So you're talking of two homes being managed against one today. That's the kind of leveraging you have on account of the automation solutions. Because in a typical home, the geyser switched on in the morning, finally gets switched off in the afternoon. Now, our belief that an automation, our automatic thermostat is going to switch off the geyser, no. There is still consumption happening. But if you can program a geyser for a particular temperature, which is my personal liking, you're optimizing the energy usage. Sustainability very clearly. The fact that today everything is lead free, everything is RoHS compliant, you're talking of green, number one. Number two, lighting, which is one of the largest component of what goes into a home, being LED today is mercury free, no CO2, lead free, RoHS compliant. So all aspects of green and sustainability have got addressed. Coming to the point of automation being a reliever rather than something new as a gadget which gets me tense. Yes, the objective of automation solutions is at the touch of a button, can I make 5 things work in a home, which otherwise needed 5 different operations. So if I decide the way I want my study to be in the day and in the evening, especially in the context of today where we are talking of a new normal, we had Faisal mentioning that most companies are getting into the hybrid model. I can tell you Polycab is already on a hybrid model for the last 8 months. We work only 2 days out of office. For the balance 3 days, 4 days, we work from home. Now, when you start working from home, I'm sure all of us would agree that in an office, you work 9 to 5 with breaks for a coffee. But when you're working from home, you are back to back on your calendar. And when you're doing that, you need time released or your bandwidth released out of other activities that you do. A very simple point in question, Supraja. You have 5 different brands of electrical appliances in a home. Today, you have 5 different toll-free numbers if you have a problem. What if we bring you a solution of automation where we say, irrespective of whether the gadget is Polycab or no, under my automation solutioning, I give you one single toll-free number which you call, and I give you a service within 6 hours. And if it is a IT platform related issue, I service it, correct it online 24/7. Now you see the amount of mental bandwidth that has got released from a consumer's perspective, and that is the time one can spend on things that are aspirational or whatever have you. The idea of automation solutions is not really bringing a style statement into your home that everything in my house operates on the touch of a button. There are very clear tangibles that are getting offered, which are benefit to the consumer from an emotive element of giving an ambience and an experience that he or she personally wants. And second is the real technology benefit of sustainability, reducing carbon footprint and reducing energy emissions.
Absolutely agree with you. Sandeep, would you like to tell us how we can use automation? Look, you definitely did mention that there's no shying away from automation, but we'd like to know how can you use automation to actually make design function better? So say it's really high roofs, etc. How can you use automation so that in design, in interiors and architecture both?
I'm going to go back to, I think one of the panelists said, maybe Niroop mentioned, your design is your design, okay? Automation is not going to make your design better. So let's not fool ourselves with that. And I don't believe that automation is going to enhance design. It can enhance an atmosphere. So for sure,
right.
You can create a beautiful space and automation can, control the ambience for sure. You can improve the atmosphere of a space by your mood lighting and temperature control and sound activation and your music and all those kind of things. So that is something that you can do. What I am kind of more concerned about, and that's all great, and for people who want that, I personally am not that fussed about putting on my lights or setting my mood myself. I enjoy it actually. I enjoy putting up my blinds or drawing my curtains like Supraja probably does. I enjoy that activity of, putting on my music myself. It's not, and I don't really mind putting on my AC or anything like that. But I think there is really a point in terms of efficiency. I think that is what I'm more kind of concerned about with this smart automation. One is, of course, ambience and, I mean, design getting enhanced in terms of the atmosphere. The other thing is, of course, efficiency, the way you have in a car. If you see most smart cars today have a screen and everything is integrated. So it tells you exactly, the car will tell you your tires have low pressure or the brakes are not working or this is not working. I think what really gets to me is not knowing your mechanical and electrical systems in your house or in any building. And if that can be all on your keypad and you have warning indicators, just imagine if before you have a leak on your wall and water coming through, a sensor that can detect your moisture levels and it immediately goes off and you're warned in advance about that. Or there's a gas leak or there's a water leak or a pipe burst that you can immediately tell. Or there's an electrical circuit which has gone off or your solar pump is not working. Those are the kind of things that I can say for sure. If I had that whole thing as an overall picture, I think Manoj talked about the symphony and the orchestra. Like if you had that in front of you, all integrated, and I don't know how that would be done personally, because I know it could be done eventually, but I think if you can really know the nuts and bolts of what is inside your house in terms of mechanicals, electricals, etc. And if you can have a sensor on your shower which says, no more than a 5-minute shower, then I think we're talking, immediately it beeps and says, okay, 5-minute shower, we're wasting, it's criminal to waste more water than this. Okay. So these are the kind of things which I think excite me about automation.
Very well said, Sandeep. In fact, you picked up some of the biggest pain points. But I have to say, in terms of, like you rightly mentioned, in terms of security, and when it comes to larger residential spaces, say buildings, if their lighting is controlled, you sort of also end up saving a lot of manpower. So I'm sure there are a lot of ways if you use
sensors, of course.
Yeah.
Motion sensors are very important, and most buildings in Europe, for example, you walk into a space and the light comes on and you walk out and it goes off. That's it. There's no question of switching on and off lights and things like that,
Yeah. So yeah, in a lot of ways, it is about how we smartly use the smart automation. So I'd like to know from Niroop his thoughts on the same, that, how can we use automation smartly to actually address our requirements?
Yeah, how to use them smartly, it actually depends on each individual, or it can be a community, it can be a home, it can be a community, it can be anything, depending on the need, as Sandeep was mentioning. See, I think, okay, maybe the pipe leaks and all still are not, but some of the things he mentioned are maybe the water, the pressure of the water, all that are in the building BMS, building automation, when you have a large community. So we're having that. I think as a valid point, the leaks, these are the things which bother us day to day. everyone is busy in their life, and definitely it would be like someone can Manoj or someone can come up with these kind of things. It's just that they need to install some kind of devices in the pipes or near the overhead tanks where they have the inlet and outlet, or probably it can be done. I mean, it's not it. And then yeah, it actually it depends on each individual. To be very frank, I mean, when I see, suppose as my home, I would like to have something. It's all that. See, it is one is to save energy. Second thing is how it is making you comfortable, and then and what is the way you want to use it basically, because you have to be really tech savvy also too. Because I've seen a lot of my clients getting it installed, and I've seen a lot of my clients' homes like the maid servants operate them because they get better. So I think we have moved on from the large big screens because we used to have in every floor one big screen. Now they have moved. I think from the screens we have moved on to the mobiles and our own pads. Can be iPad or Samsung, whatever it is. So I mean, technology is improving day by day. So we want it to be like ease. It has to be on ease rather than be a discomfort for us. So this and design wise, I don't see it as a major difference. I mean, it just adds to being just
Convenience.
saving of energy or something like that. I don't really see it a major difference until we have automation for architects, something different, not for the home. So where we can relieve ourselves from, I mean, where things can get automated for construction and for drawing, some technology. It will change a lot in architects' life, but I don't think home automation is really.
Absolutely. Supraja, since the pandemic, there has been a lot of focus on designing spaces that are flexible, whether it's your office, which is now supposed to be multi-purpose, it's used for events, etc., or it's your home where you're working from, or it's a studio, etc. So do you think automation can be smartly used to make spaces flexible and be utilized for multiple purposes?
Yes, I mean, if a space is multi-purpose, the function changes, so the requirements change. So whether it's just requirements of lighting level will change, and you can adapt the space for that, and definitely automation will help. I'd love to talk a little on what Sandeep said, how he'd like to see automation help, and on those pain points. And yes, Sandeep, I love to open the curtains to all that because it's part of my warm-up morning is do some activity. As Niroop was talking about how some of these things will change in the future. To me, I think Niroop or Sandeep, I forget, on the smart Sandeep, right? Smart shower, right? 5 minutes. So I said that before at some event about, I think, like all of us know, we've got 7 chakras, and with lots going on in our life, we're emotionally a lot of time depleted of energy. So if one can, in the shower, now these showers, you have the color, what are those called? Chroma therapy, etc. But imagine if the automation, you're able to talk in your bathroom and tell that you're feeling a little low in your heart, or you're feeling, less creative, you're feeling drained. So if the automation can actually set the color temperature for your bathroom, orange for creativity, red for root chakra, and can also set a music. Every chakra has a certain vibration, 532 hertz, every chakra has. Imagine if the music is set for that vibration. So 15 minutes by the time you've used your bathroom, you could actually get energized. I would love, because not everybody would know what music to listen or what color temperature you need, but you know what's wrong. You could be having a problem with your throat. You could have a problem, right? So if you just say that, and if the bathroom could help you heal or energize, I would love to see that. I'd love to see, and I'm actually more than love to see. I think it will happen. Like I remember many years ago, when I was in America with my brother and sister not driving, And they just put the Google map, right? And she would be giving you directions to take this exit and this highway. And I was very impressed back then. And now it is just way of life. And I'm waiting to see in kitchen something like this happen. Imagine if I could just tell in my kitchen what I'd like to eat for the next meal, and the ingredient list gets printed out, or I get it on my phone. And imagine if I could just order that. I know these days you get a full ingredients for a certain dish, but imagine if you're I'm waiting for the cooking, the burner to actually tell you what to put next, or for dummy cooking, guys. And with pandemic,
that's all just around the corner.
Yeah, I was just
the fridges are going to talk to you. Your washing machine will tell you when to do your laundry. Your fridge will tell you that your groceries are depleted, and probably you order it directly through Amazon Alexa.
Exactly.
And to your thing. So it's all going to happen very soon.
Great. I've been talking with this for the last 10 years. I'd love to see which can help me cook, people like me. Yeah, so I think if automation can help us just get a little more time and do things which allow us to relax, I'm really looking forward to that.
I love the way you infuse life into the whole system of automation. Yes, Mr. Verma, you want to say something?
Yeah, to Supraja's point, there is possibility of human-centric lighting. So automation can actually give you the wavelength and color of light as you have lived with sunlight. And the technical term is circadian rhythm of a human body. So a human body responds differently at different times of the day to different wavelengths of light. And this can be mapped and tracked based on the latitude and longitude of your location. And depending on the time of the day, the algorithm, the way it is designed, actually preempts that you're going to be feeling low for the next 45 minutes. And it will align the color of the light and the wavelength of the light in the interior to one that will give you perhaps that needed additional push of adrenaline for you to start feeling more active, more energetic. People use coffee, we'll use human-centric lighting to make you feel better. So this is already there. This is not something that is being worked on. This is already there, and this is what we call human-centric lighting. Along with human-centric lighting, through AI, we will be able to also integrate the kind of music depending on the time of the day and your mood. So the moment you walk into an interior at 3:30 in the afternoon, the light will get aligned to what you need, and you can sync in the kind of music that best suits that particular moment. The music starts playing. And that's all is going to happen. And that is all going to happen through AI. So at the moment, the industry is into the phase of data analytics and data compilation. But 6 months, 1 year down the lane, you will have this. Of course, you will have this.
Wow, that's definitely something that we're all looking forward to, right, Supraja?
Absolutely.
Faisal, would you like to share with us, have you worked on any project where you've used automation, and what is the feedback that you've received? And at typically what stage do people tend to bring in automation when they're designing their homes?
Yeah, well, see, automation is still at a stage wherein it's a very client-driven decision. It really depends on their comfort level, and then at what level you want to automate the house, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now there are projects where we have automated completely for the curtains to open up at a certain hour in a day. Their landscaping gets watered at certain intervals. To a few other projects wherein they haven't really needed any automation. From a design perspective, it is definitely important for us to know at the time of starting a project of whether the client wants automation. Then we go in for a wired solution, and then it's just far more integrated. The TVs are connected through a single remote, etc. Their climate systems are controlled. Or then you have a retrofitment model wherein, if you are, let's say, doing a renovation project, or a past client wants to call you in and they just want a quick solution, then there are solutions for that as well. So there are various degrees of involvement with this, and also in terms of how far does the client want to take it? Obviously, it has a budget correlation. But in the coming times, there's no question about the fact that automation is going to grow. So now, basically, what has happened is we have moved from, let's say, a command-based system wherein either you're touching and controlling an electronic device to now that you're doing it by voice through Alexa or Google Homes. And you're going to progressively move towards much more smarter homes driven by IoT, machine learning, and AI. Right. So your house is going to start making decisions for you. So, for example, if you have, let's say, an itinerary in Outlook, your house is gonna have your car charged, send you the map of the location which you're going to in your car to maybe find you a parking spot when you arrive. So so these things will happen, and we are on the journey towards that. But yeah, having said that, automation is still fairly a personal thing and a convenience thing. I wouldn't say it's a luxury. I wouldn't term it as a luxury now, because the projects wherein we have installed it, they are truly deriving the benefits out of it. But as a lot of panelists have said, what really needs to be seen is from a design perspective, or from a, let's say, a climate responsibility perspective, how automation is helping us in sustainability and lowering those costs down for us, apart from the convenience factor.
I'm going to quickly take some questions from the audience. I have one here, which I think is for Sandeep. It says that design has the power to push the boundaries in different ways and unveil new possibilities. How do you as an architect plan to push these boundaries?
Well, I think we have to continue to innovate in every sense. But I believe more in a kind of design or architecture which is driven from inside out, rather than from outside in. So it's not about a vision of what your elevation or the outside spaces are going to look at, and then you kind of work the insides. It's really about how the comfort of spaces, the ergonomics of the space, all that kind of, the materiality, that kind of, we look at the architectonics of space first, and then it kind of works to the outside. So I think we are really looking at context-driven solutions, where our design is very, very strongly context-driven. It's based on a particular program. It's rooted. It's based on a particular climate. And we arrive at a solution, and sometimes we don't know what the end product is going to even look like. But I think that's the kind of design that is beginning to excite me more than having a kind of a set notion of what it should be before you kind of get into the design process. So, and along that, a lot of innovation happens in that kind of process.
Absolutely right, and very well said. There's another one for Supraja. It says, how much automation is too much automation, according to you?
It's very personal. It's exactly like how much food is too much food, how much of what is too much. It's really what you'd like to use. Like a smartphone, someone uses a lot of apps, uses a lot. For some people, they just use two functions. So I think one must firstly, based on how, on a serious note, how geeky or how techy you are and what you'd like to do with it. That's definitely a criteria. What your lifestyle demands, what your current stage of life demands. If you have less time, then you should definitely make an attempt to free up some time and do things, which automation can help you. Alternatively, if you're at that point in your life, time is not a concern, but things like security, health issues, and hence you'd like to bring in automation, not for a luxury, and use it as a necessity. So yeah, it's one can draw the line based on what works for you.
Absolutely well said. Mr. Verma, somebody wants to know that does Polycab have hotel light dimming systems as well?
Yes, we have.
And
you're going to share you are going to share the contact number of my colleague. So the gentleman or the lady who has that query can connect with this colleague of mine and he will have the complete answers. He or she will have the complete answers.
There are also some questions on the installation and whether the cost that you mentioned in the presentation includes all of that.
That does not include installation.
Niroop, you did mention that you have used automation with some of your clients in the past. Would you like to share some experiences of using automation before we wrap up the session?
My experience or client's experience?
Client's experience.
Client's
Either, both actually. More.
Yeah.
So why did you choose to use automation for the project?
Niroop, how much automation did he use in his house and how does he use it? He's made a new house in the last couple of years.
Oh, that's the perfect question to ask then.
I haven't been to his house, but I know it's something really nice he's done.
Let's hear it from you.
See, most of my clients, I think we are the ones, I think, being an architect, so we suggest most of the clients for automation because it's being one of the new innovative things we have. And then it depends on really his individual lifestyle, what he wants. Like some of them are like, okay, whatever is the best, and some of them are very specific in what they want, maybe the home theaters, maybe the shade system. So it depends on each individual. You know, I really cannot share their experience, but definitely, I think, I mean, we have not got any calls back, any complaints on saying that maybe it has not come to us. Maybe, I mean, I think most of them are comfortable and they're trying to get adjusted to the things. I think it keeps on updating because now I think we need to have an automation system. We can keep upgrading in the future because we cannot get stuck with what we have now. So there are few systems where we cannot upgrade. So you just need to go with that specific company. But now we have another platforms, few other platforms. I don't want to name them, but where you can keep on upgrading on the future. Like you can keep on adding whenever there's a new technology and there's a new app thing. So I think we probably need to, I think architect has to be very careful while suggesting the client like what kind of automation they need, because we need to be aware ourselves before we tell them like what it is about.
Absolutely agree with you. I think we have established today that the future of design is going to be a lot about sustainability, about flexibility, about using technology, and it's definitely going to be consumer-centric and collaborative. And automation will definitely be a part of our designs in the future in different ways and with different comfort levels of both the designers and the consumers. Before we conclude this discussion, we have a surprise for all our viewers. We have a little quiz that we're going to play based on the discussions that we've had today. And the first person who answers the question in the chat box will be winning a small hamper from home. So can we quickly run the quiz? And you can answer. Your existing non-smart appliance device can be made smart device through any home product? Yes or no? Through which of this product? Okay. The smart plug is the answers that we've got. That's the second question. Now, lots of answers coming in. That was fantastic. And while our team processes the winners, I'd like to take this opportunity to make the vote of thanks today. We had some fabulous points of view out there, and it's great to see automation and design aligning beautifully to take on what the future holds for us. It's also reassuring to receive such positive feedback on the growth of the design industry. As we foresee the future, it looks bright and sustainable and supported by technology in all ways. I want to thank Polycab India for creating this fabulous forum. This is our 5th webinar on smart technology. We've been through different cities around the country, and it was a great discussion today as well. The launch of Home marks Polycab's entry into home automation, which in today's discussion made it very evident is the need of the hour. Home is definitely another feather in the already full hat of Polycab, and I wish Polycab all the best for its success. I'd of course like to thank each of our esteemed panelists for taking the time out and sharing their valuable feedbacks on this pertinent topic of futuristic design. Thank you so much, Sandeep, for joining us. Thank you, Niroop. In spite of your ill health, you did make it, and we're really glad you did. Thank you, Supraja, for joining us and adding so much life to the conversation. Thank you, Faisal, for being a part of this lovely discussion. And of course, thank you, Mr. Verma. I got to learn a lot from each of you today. It's a matter of pride for us at ITP to be the anchors of this very special launch at Polycab. And I look forward to continuing this series with architects and industry professionals from across the country. A big thank you to the entire team of Polycab India and ITP India and Architect and Interiors India, who collaborated seamlessly to make the launch of Home and this panel discussion such a success. Last but not the least, our audience, who engaged beautifully with our panelists and made this session so interactive and fun. On that note, it's time to announce the winners. Do we have them, Amrita? Let's have them.
So the first winner is Raghuvir Padiyar.
Congratulations,
Raghuvir. The second winner is Shilpa Patel. And the third winner is Lakshay Mittal.
Congratulations and all the very best. And thank you very much for everyone for having got on to the session. I really appreciate your presence and your inputs, which will only help us make the automation solutions even more apt and suitable to the customers. Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us, everybody. Have a great evening.